I was able to stack up 10,682 points for damaged queens or matriarchs. I did this during the harvester event on Dam Battlegrounds. For your equipment, you're going to want to pack heavy. I recommend the Survivor MK2 augment to ensure that you can crawl yourself to safety if you happen to go down. Bring a light shield for the first part of the match and then a medium shield for actually fighting the queen. The light shield just lets you run faster across the map so you can get to the queen quicker if you don't get a great spawn. Bring a primary that you like for small enemies that will get in the way on your way to the queen, but you won't actually use this during that fight. If you have the equalizer, you can use the equalizer here. Otherwise, grab a Torrente. You're going to want one of those two to help break through the shell on top of the queen to expose its weak spot. Then you're going to want to make sure that you bring at least 4 deadlines, if not 5 to 6, and then 2 to 3 wolf packs to deal with the rocketeer that will be near the queen once you get there. You will definitely need a snap hook for this, and make sure that you pack a raider hatch key. Then don't forget to pack in at least 2 stacks of healing items, as the queen deals pretty heavy damage, so you're definitely going to burn through those if you take any damage from the queen. And then pack at least 2 stacks of adrenaline shots just to ensure that you can get to the queen as quickly as possible depending on your spawn once you start this round. Once you spawn in, you want to head for the harvester icon on the map. If you're doing this on Dam Battlegrounds, the queen will be located in the Red Lakes, so you want to get there as quickly as possible. Depending on how far you spawn away, and with this being the trials challenge for this week, keep in mind that players that are closer have a significant advantage for getting more damage onto the queen. So as you are running towards the queen, if you hear its engaged players already, listen for how much damage is being done to the queen itself. If you get a far spawn like I did, and there's a lot of damage already being done to the queen, don't waste your valuable materials or even taking the risk during this run. Just leave requeue until you get a next full match and try again. I know it's a little frustrating that RNG plays such a significant role in trials, but this is the best way to ensure that you protect yourself and the high volume of equipment that you're bringing in. Remember, once you make it to the area where the queen is, to swap out your light shield for your medium shield and let it charge up fully before you start the fight. Look for the rocketeer and take it out with wolf packs. In most cases, 2 is enough to do it, but I bring a 3rd just in case my wolf pack splits off and does damage to the queen and not enough to the rocketeer. In this case, I only needed 2, and then I was good to go, and save the 3rd wolf pack for later. If you are using the equalizer on the smaller enemies around, make sure you spin it up before you start to actually do damage. It can be a little hard to hear whether or not it's spinning up with all the noise that the queen makes, so just be careful if you're using that weapon. I got beamed down by a wasp just a little bit because I was not aware that I was not charging up. You want to try and stay out of the queen's aggro at first. You don't want it looking at you, and you can tell if you have the queen's aggro as it will be looking directly at you. Be careful when this happens. The queen has a couple of powerful attacks that come out of its front that will be laser beams that will deal immense amounts of damage that you cannot really survive if you stay in them for long. Once the queen is not aggroed onto you, and ideally once the queen is standing still, use your snap hook to get on top of the queen. Make sure you snap hook the whole of the queen, the very top of it, and try not to have your snap hook cross over the legs itself. Make sure you mantle at the end of the snap hook just to ensure that you make it on top of the queen. Once you're on top of the queen, use the equalizer or the Torrente to open up the weak spot on top of it. Shoot the center of its hole, and this will expose its big weak spot that you can plant the deadlines on. Equip your deadlines and plant them quickly back to back, and then sprint off of the top of the queen. When you are sprinting off of the queen, be aware of which way it's already moving and try and run in a different direction. If you try and jump off of the queen in the same direction that it's running, you will just get caught by the queen as it's moving, and you will stay on top and go down to your deadlines. Keep in mind that you will probably take some damage as you jump off of the queen, and then the queen is going to aggro to you once your deadlines go off. Quickly try and find a place to hide, but keep in mind there's not a ton of places to hide when you're out in the open with the queen. Be aware that its legs will deal heavy amounts of damage, and it has a stomp attack that will deal even more. Do your best to heal up and shield, and then wait for the queen to de-aggro. Once the queen has de-aggroed and you are healed back up, simply do the same thing again. Snap hook back on top of the queen, equip 2 more deadlines, place them on the queen, and then jump off to safety. Do your best to find cover once you are jumped off of the queen, and keep in mind that it is very easy for the queen to track you down and, in some cases like this, knock you out completely. Now, I had the Survivor MK2 augment on, so I was going to crawl myself to safety, and I had a Raider hatch key.
Oh my God, thank you,
but
brother.
as I was doing that, some random Raider hero came by and defibbed me. So I was able to get back up into the fight and deal a last bit of damage with my wolf pack before the queen was taken out. Make sure you grab some loot from the queen if you've done all of that work to deal damage to it. And if you can, try and get to its core the quickest. It'll be the large sphere, the same thing that you were planting the deadlines on, and it will give you the most amount of loot out of all the different queen parts. Once you have done enough damage or the queen has been taken out, head back to Speranza, collect your loot if you haven't already, and watch your score fly up the leaderboard. That's going to be it for me today, y'all. Thanks for watching.